You know what freedom actually is? Freedom is our capacity to solve all of our own problems. Any one of those problems you can't solve for yourself is to the degree you aren't free. Then you need to find out how to solve that problem for yourself. When you can do that, you don't need to ask permission from any man, woman, or child.
The fourth component is now walking into who you are. You have been becoming across this whole journey. Now you are walking into purpose so that you become your purpose. If you think about an invention, somebody thought about this, somebody made this. They transferred metaphysically who they are onto this product. They thought about how they'd want it. Because this is a soft brush to take off the hair. But it could be brisk, it could be hard, right? Why shouldn't it scratch up my face when it's taking off the hair? Because who wants that? So now, if I want comfort, I'm going to transfer that onto the creation. And what you're doing at this stage is you are now transferring the new incarnation of who you are onto your routine, processes, and what you're creating. So that when that entity is formed, because it is an entity, just like any entities that you transfer spiritual energy onto, it now takes on its own life force. So, you ask yourself, why do we buy Nike as a brand? Why do we buy Apple when it's just, especially since they started adopting Pentium chips, a more expensive PC? It's how we feel about it. And what you're doing when you metaphysically transfer your spirit onto your purpose and anything that comes out of that purpose is you are now taking how people feel about you and transferring it onto your purpose, your product, or the entity, the vehicle that you're creating to move forward. And you're probably asking, well, how do I do that? Well, now you're going to come to exude this new incarnation of you. Steve Jobs, we saw him in his uniform, his black roll neck and jeans and shoes. We didn't think, oh, he's a bum. He's got one set of clothes, did we? We didn't question it. We said that's a very simple man who has a clinical mind, who has an urgency about him to create a product that has a superior usability. We only care about our user experience, right? Well, that's where the feeling comes in. Now, if somebody's thinking about the UI, the user interaction, well, he's transferring who he is onto that product. When he goes into a room, he is efficient. Brevity of information. Got it. That's what we're putting on the product. So now the product isn't cumbersome. And if the product isn't cumbersome, the experience isn't cumbersome. Is different when we look at a Nike. Why do you think they utilize the celebrities and the successful athlete? Because they want a spirit of winning. So thereby, that spirit of winning is transferred onto the product. So even if you're a bum, if you've got $100 to buy Jordans, well, now you're a winner. So now when we look at, oh shit, look at the Jordans. We feel it. It emits an emotion. This is all metaphysics. But those who brand understand this. It's about manipulating how we feel about the product by the value that we've now transferred onto the product. You're capable of doing that. It does not take a £1 billion marketing firm to give you that prowess. It doesn't take for you to have £1 million endorsements to get the transfer from those successful people. No. Now you are in the retention of your purpose and who you were always supposed to be via your becoming. You're going to transfer that right onto your product because this isn't conventional wisdom. This isn't what we are trained and programmed with in school to develop the human monkey chatter that sabotages us our whole lives. This is the science of the mystery schools that created the men who created the institutions, that unearthed the purpose of men who built the pyramids. This is where we are today, where men are aligning and putting these curriculums in place, where men are aligning and creating shows just to attract attention, so that all we have to do is hold your attention with the curriculum, so that we can enable a generation of what Germany wanted, the Übermensch, the Überman, ultra men who understand that we need to become the greatest physical specimens we can, the greatest intellectual specimens we can, and the most powerful spiritual facilitators that we can. Because like a flute, the messages pass through us, like the wind going through a flute. And in that regard, I'm a vessel, but I recognize my capacity as a vessel, my use as a vessel, and my usefulness as a vessel to convey to men, you Sigmas, what you're capable of, that you've never been told or shown you're capable of. So I'll tell you, the minute I meet any Sigma, they'll say to me, I always knew I was different. I know you're different. I always knew I had a purpose that was important. I know. Our role now is not necessarily just to unearth your purpose. It is to refine who you are so that you are qualified to walk in it. And when you're qualified to walk in your purpose, you're going to be able to transfer through this metaphysical process who you are onto your business or your institution, so that people welcome it in exactly the same way that they welcome you, in exactly the same way they embrace you and adopt what you say and do. Because this vehicle will become you. We saw it with Apple. We saw it happen with Microsoft. These guys at the higher echelons of society are fully aware of the occult. They are fully aware of the etheric realm, and they are fully aware of their mastery, being in retention of all of this knowledge and applying it to their lives. They are aware that the wisdom that they are actually applying to processes is what the power is and where the power lies. We thought they were all making millions of dollars. We didn't realize they were getting finance. First time I went into Royal Bank of Scotland, a bank for ventures, there's no cash in the building. And when I asked the guy in his pinstripe suit what exactly it is, he said, we turn ideas into capital. That's an investment bank? So it's not a loan, it's equity. Then what do? You make your partners stakeholders. We just didn't think of them in that way. Oh, we've got to get a loan to employ people. No, you don't. You've got £1 million worth of intellectual capital. Now you're going to join other men who have £1 million worth of intellectual capital. Now, because you come from a process as Sigmas, you have similar values and ethics. So now you have no concern of fraud or things like this. So now you just work with clean hands and clean hearts to put bricks in place to build multi-million-pound entities that you are going to metaphysically transfer who you are onto. So those brands will be received in exactly the same way as you guys. This is the fourth stage. Transferring your metaphysical self onto your products, processes, and methods to get the same outcome that you do when you personally step into a room.
As Sigmas, we uphold, promote, and preserve our values.